We'll call the meeting of this Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
John,
Here.
Seth,
Here.
Crystal,
Here.
Todd,
Here.
and Steve will not be here tonight.
Okay, first period for public comment.
I think you're good, John.
Okay. Review and approval of the May 2025 meeting minutes.
Well, this is Crystal, and I would move approval of the May 20th, 2025 meeting minutes with no additions or corrections.
Moved by Crystal,
Todd, I'll second the motion.
seconded by Todd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Operator license approvals.
Okay, I have 3 in-house right now for Pizza Hut. It's Rayanna Asmussen, Melissa Gabrielson, and Michael Baker. They are all 3 renewals and all have passed their background checks. I will let you know I have 2 coming for Wonder State, Benjamin Frawley and Catherine Wilbright. They're both new ones. One of them will be the agent for what we're going to talk about in the next agenda item. They have not come in and paid for this, but I wanted to get this through here, with your approvals pending all the background checks and things like that. So those are the 5 that I have right now.
Okay. Anybody with questions or comments or motions?
This is Crystal, and I would move approval of the operator licenses, the 3 for Pizza Hut that are renewals, and then the 2 at Wonder State are pending background checks.
Todd, I second the motion.
Moved by Crystal, seconded by Todd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Number 5, review and approval of beer and liquor license renewals for 2025-2026 license year.
Okay, Wonder State has come in with an application form. They have not paid for this yet, but I wanted to bring it forward to you. They want to be able to sell, and they've done this in the past. They just did not have one in this previous year for a Class B beer license and a Class C liquor license. So I do have the paperwork here. They emailed it all to me. They have everything. They would just need to go through all the background checks and things like that. And I don't know if there was any issues that either chief had with the location, with any issues with what they've done in the past. It's a new person that's going to be the agent. It's Catherine Wilbricht, I think is how you say it. So she's willing to change anything that needs to be. So I don't know if there was any issues.
I don't think, sorry, I didn't speak to you about this, but did they change the premise license at all or anything with the premise?
No, she didn't really understand what the premise description is. They were kind of trying to describe the building change. And I said, well, are you just serving inside? Or are you serving outside? And they were going to be doing basically the same thing inside and outside in that little area that's like partitioned off. So, and they basically have the wine and beer will be sold from behind the espresso bar. The records are kept in the bump out room to the north of that. And then alcohol will be consumed inside the cafe and on the patio. So it's pretty much the same as what they had in the past.
You said something about changes. They didn't do any changes to like the layout of the structure of the building, right?
No.
Okay, yep.
No, when she originally had written this up and I asked her to change this, it was kind of like, this was a former, a mobile station or whatever it was, and
Yep.
it's been changed into a beautiful, so they were describing the
Oh,
building, not
yeah.
where they were going to be serving and selling and consuming. So I had her change that. So she kind of took it literally on the description.
All good, all good.
So, yeah. So again, if you choose to, I did send this in for publication, which it'll be going out in tomorrow's, and it has to be the 15 days. And since they haven't technically even submitted it in person, I'm kind of holding off until I have everything and everything is coming back and all the background checks. So it would be pending all of that.
Go ahead, Crystal.
This is Crystal. And I would move approval of the beer and liquor license renewals for 2025 and 26. And it sounds like it's Wonder State and it's pending background checks and some paperwork submission.
Todd, I second the motion.
Moved by Crystal, seconded by Todd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Number 6, review and approval of change order for fire station project.
Did you get that email, Nate, by chance? I think it's this, oh, you can, yeah, that's the one. Thank you. So this isn't the final changes to change order number 2, but I wanted to get it in front of you so you could kind of see where it's at so far. The intent is for us to bring the final details of change order number 2 for the new station on the first council of July. But again, rather than waiting for that, I wanted to bring it to you, to this group to get any input or questions or whatever, kind of get through some of that stuff rather than the night of. So just going to kind of go through it. If you have any questions, obviously ask. I do have a detail. There's an attachment. If we want to bring it up, it's got some more detail to it, but I'll try and talk my best through it. So number 1, they ran into a problem with running a 2-inch water pipe down from the roof ceiling area down to the floor. There was nothing to attach it to. That got ultimately missed on the design, so they had to come up with a new steel column, steel post to be able to mount that water line and some a vent or whatnot to it. So that is an addition of 3451. Number 2 on there is a deduct. They went from aluminum, or they did aluminum instead of steel. So that was actually less expensive and looks a lot nicer to match the other windows in that area. So it's a deduct of 195. Decon showers. I might have talked about this on the first change order. We didn't get it on there, but there's been so many things, so I apologize if I misspeak at all. There's 2 showers in the back of the bays that at the time it was designed, there was some shower inserts that were available. Since then, they're not available, and they haven't been able to find a good replacement to insert in. This happens to be concrete block surrounding it, and something to do with how it all matches up and seals with the edges and things like that. The only option they had was ungodly expensive. And so we're like, what's plan B? And plan B is to epoxy the walls and then tile the floors, and there will be no insert. So it'll actually be more durable and probably better in the long run, but of course that comes with some cost. So there was some deducts, and then of course there was some add-ons, and they kind of list them out there. That was just under $2,500.
Excuse me,
Go
Chad,
ahead.
is
Yep, go
that
ahead.
per shower or is it in total?
Total.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So then number 4 is there was something that's part of those showers too, I believe. There were the 2 valves. There was an issue with, I think, getting them in time was the issue. Number 4. Yeah, unforeseen lead time was the issue, and so they found another option that they believe is as good, if not better, but it was a deduct of $638, or I'm sorry, a value of $638, and they're not charging us for it. So you'll see some of these zeros in there, meaning that either it was an equal exchange or Keller or the contractor is picking up the tab. So I've been pretty pushy on some things, and you'll hear me say it throughout a few of these, but we asked them to hang. We've got that old hose cart, antique hose cart. We asked them to hang it rather than us try and figure out how to hang it. So that's $2,600 to get that up and put in place. Fire damper in file room 111. There is that's our fire safe room, so it's double sheet rocked, 2-hour rated, I believe, for files and documents that are important. But it was missed a fire damper that'll close if the fire alarm goes off to keep heat and smoke out of the room. So that was added for $600. to keep it fire safe. Otherwise, it destroys the point of it being fire safe. Number 7 was moving some fire extinguisher cabinet. They're not charging for that. Overhead fans interlock with fire alarm. That is, they've got 2 circulating fans in the bays, and pre this add-on, if there was a fire in there, the fans would keep running. And as you can figure out what's the best way to stoke up a fire, add wind. So there was an interlock that's put in both of them. So if anytime the fire alarm goes off, it shuts those fans off so that you're not moving heat and stuff around. We asked them to light and mount the one of the original bells that the city had for activating the fire department back in the day. And that was 22607. Exterior lighting, adjusting locations of wall packs and making some changes there. That was $0. Shower room, let's see, we adjusted some ceiling heights in a couple of bathrooms. This is number 11. At this point, it's $0, and I feel like it'll stay at $0, but again, obviously I'll bring you the final that council meeting. Cooler room size, I'm not entirely sure what that all is about. Right now it's at 0. It's number 12, right? Yeah, I don't, it says cooler room was resized to suit operational needs, but I don't know what that is. So sorry, I'll have more on the final. Pot filler added for kitchen area. It was $1,200. So what had happened there was they already had plumbed in a bunch of piping behind some of the kitchen equipment. Originally talked about removing that, and the deduct was very minimal to the point where it's in the price. We're already paying for it. Let's leave it. And so we ended up adding, had them extend it a little bit and add a faucet to it so that it's actually usable. So it did cost $1,200, but again, it's usable instead of having just a line back or giving away money back to them. Let's see, number 14, change cleanouts from square to circle. There was no charge to that. It was a lead time issue. Garbage disposal next to the dishwasher, that got missed. I believe the wiring was there, so that's why you see 0, but the actual garbage disposal and the hookup to it was not. So that was $1,058. Deduct alternative media boxes. We changed basically they were old school media boxes behind the TVs. We had those pulled out, went to more standard common sense media boxes. So that ended up being a deduct of $557. Gas pipe painting. They were talking about that being a cost, but I told them I don't want them painted. There's no point in painting, so we might actually have a little bit of a credit on that. Vestibule and conference room, increased height. When the windows were installed in those 2 areas, they were installed really low per plan. I told them that wouldn't work. You're standing looking through the window and there was a bar in the window right in front of your face for your average height person. So I told them I wanted them raised. They said it was going to cost $1,900. I said, no, it's not. But you're going to raise them. So Keller is figuring it out and they're covering it. Additional fire extinguishers and cabinets required by fire inspector. He's a tough guy to deal with. We're going to buy the fire extinguishers through the fire department, so we save money, so I can get them cheaper. And I think there might be a cost in there for adding another wall box or whatever, but I go heavy on fire extinguishers if I expect our businesses to have it. We need to follow it ourselves, right? So not a big deal. Number 20, the generator pad had to increase in size. They wanted a little bit more of an apron around it for water and snow and whatever. That's 0. Their Fowler and Hammer did it for free. Burn pad size change. There was some changes to that when you heard me talk last couple meetings or whatever. We got that narrowed down what we're going to do. They didn't charge us for that. Window sills removed out of the bedrooms. Once the windows were in and everything was done, there's like almost like a counter, a real thin plate like this deep. It didn't fit in there well, so I told him to get rid of them and saved us $590. The bollards, all of the bollards around the actual building are steel, but for some reason, they typically, to make them look nicer, they use stainless steel around the dumpster enclosure, the fire hydrant, generator. And but they also had covers over them. So the company, I think it was Fowler and Hammer called me and they said, we think this is crazy. Let's put in steel and keep the sleeves. So we actually saved $6,300 going to steel. So that was kind of a diamond that we found. And I would have never known other than when Fowler called or brought it up. So that's a good savings there. Apparatus bay man doors. So for those of you that were in there, you've obviously been there, you were there. So in the bays, you can see the structural steel. And when you went out the service doors or the roll up doors or whatever, it just looked unfinished. And the insulation was, kind of whatever. And it just trying to mount some of the equipment or the piping, and it looked really bad. And so $3,600, they put steel all the way around, 8 foot high all the way around inside the bays to finish it off, tidy it up, gives them a place to mount stuff, so on and so forth. Mechanical room, liner panel for east wall. That was a no cost. They did it. They had extra panel left, so they put it up for free. Workout room. There was something, let's see, wall type. Yeah, they changed some type of wall type, but again, they didn't charge us any extra for it. Number 27, I think we've talked about this a little bit with the group, haven't we? But USDA is requiring us to separate that property. So it's a big lot. Wild West Days on the fire station. There was a requirement that we had to separate that out. So we had a survey done.
Just real quick, it wasn't required that we separated. What was required is that we put a notice of federal interest on
Yeah,
the
thank you.
property.
Thank you.
And if we did that without separating the lot, then if at some point way down the road, Wild West Day says, hey, we found a funner new location or whatever it may be, and they left and we went to do something else with the other half of the lot, it'd be sitting there with a notice of federal interest on it, which would just complicate things. So by splitting the parcel before we put the notice of federal interest on it, just makes it cleaner.
Thank you. No, he explains it way better. Number 28, I don't know if I've talked about this one, but there's an 800 amp service into the building, and the 800 amp service switch hasn't arrived yet. They ordered it back in July before we even really started the project and before they actually got all the approvals, because they knew the electrician knows that that's a problem. Currently, right now, it's scheduled to get here August 6th. So we had to do something because they have to have power in the building to be able to actually continue work and installing lights and, everything to do electrical. So our only option was either wait and continue running extension cords and things like that, or they put in a temporary 400 amp service was another option. So unfortunately, this is one that wasn't fun, but we spent $3,200 to put in a 400 amp service. And then hopefully August 6th, when the 800 amp shows up, they have to pull all that back out and then put in the 800 amp. So we had two options again. Like I said, we wait till August 6th, or you put it in and you can continue working. And they kind of did a scenario. I don't remember if I gave you numbers. Nate, help me if you think of them, but they were looking at like bringing contractors back and what the delay would be. And it was way more money than $3,200. And so it was even simple things like putting seed down and some of the stuff they've been doing these last couple of days. So that's what that one's for, unfortunately. 29, there's a 0 there because there hasn't been any lost time yet. 30. So that's kind of the final costs for winter conditions, the utilities from Wild West days, things like that. So that's kind of has its own line item in the budget for those items. So that change order, of course, it's a change order because now we know what it is. So they're putting it in there. But it is coming out of that line item that was already planned for.
You remember what the first half of the winter conditions was? Just off the top of your head.
I don't.
I think
It
we
wasn't
fa-
about
we-
the same, wasn't it?
I think it was significantly more, but
Was it?
I think.
I know
all
we're
in
under
all,
budget.
Yeah, we fared fairly well in terms of winter conditions
Right.
contingency, given the mild winter.
Yeah, I want to say it was like, wasn't it like 50,000 we planned for or something, and it was like 40 we spent. Or, yeah, right. So, let's see. Oh, so number 31, they brought a pallet jack in. We're paying $200 for rent for a pallet jack to move stuff around. One kind of makes me question, but number 32, there was some rework and some issues with all the HVAC on the east mezzanine. Things weren't lining up right. Where they did line up, we had headroom issues, and I didn't like that. It was eating up a lot of space up in the mezzanine. We already deal with that at the current station, of not being able to walk around up there and ducking. So there was some rework, things like that. I think the original price was closer to 20 grand is what they wanted to charge to do it. And again, I'm like, that is not happening, figure it out. So it got down to 14,000. I told them that's still not gonna work. And so what it ended up coming down to is they're asking us to pay $4,300, and then Keller's eating the rest of it. So again, I'm not overly happy it's $4,300, but it's a far cry from the 20 to have a better outcome and better project. Number 33, they extended 3 culverts to help with water flow. Part of it's on the fire station project. Part of it was for Wild West Days entrance. I don't think there was a charge for that one though. And then there's culverts going underneath Nelson Parkway. And then number 34, these kind of come together. And then actually 35. So 34 is, I'm sorry. Where am I at? Sorry, 33, 35, and 36 are all together. So they're also extending the hydrant and the valve shut off, because that was in the waterway. It's always been in the waterway. And then they had to do some stuff. Sarah came over and kind of reviewed what they had plans and finished product or whatever, and she had some asks that they extend them and so on and so forth. So those items have to do with storm water and making it even better than it's better than what it was, a lot better than what it was. So those are those 3 items. Going back to 34, they added some gravel to the back area to make a space for a shipping container that'll sit there for storage. It's taken the place of that, I guess he's not here, but we had that wooden storage shed that we got from the sewer plant. Sewer plant had an old wooden shed that they were gonna throw away, and we swiped it up and used it for storage. It's getting in pretty rough shape, still usable, but the firefighters bought a storage shed for storage unit, and the gravel is a spot for us to put it when it gets moved over there. We currently have it at the current station, so that brings me down to 37, correct? We're having them add an electric drop. So every bay has an electric drop for every fire truck. One of our trucks pulls a UTV, and that needs an electric drop. So they're extending that one and putting a second drop in that spot. $485. I considered doing it ourselves when we move in, but I'm like, do we really want to hop up there day one and start wiring a building that just got built? So they're adding that. That was kind of known from day one, but we didn't know where to put it, and trying to think through all this stuff has been real exciting. But anyways, that's what that one's for. Deduct for shelves and poles. I don't know what that is, but we're saving $800. liner panel to the mechanical room east wall. That's, they're not charging us for that. They're adding that. Yeah, number 40 is the IT room. And what they found is they were going to put two-post IT racks in there. But now that they're bringing in the equipment and getting ready to mount it, one of the items is, I guess, extremely large. And the guy's like, for me to put that on a two-post IT rack is going to be a nightmare over time because it's heavy. So his suggestion is that we do one of the racks with a 4-post rack. I'm making sense. I'm kind of just spewing. And of course, to do that, it's $579 to put a 4-post rack in. I told them I'd prefer they figure out how to do it with a 2-post. They can do it with a 2-post, but I'm going off their suggestion, and they're saying that long-term is not going to be, we're not going to like it. So, anyways, flagpole flag for Roco logo design. I'm going to probably have them pull that back out. So what we're going to do is in the flagpole bid, they included, a fire department flag, but it's a generic flag. Everybody can buy them, has them or whatever, fire departments. And so we've custom designed our own. And instead of getting that, we're going to upgrade it to a personal flag. So that's what that one is. Placeholder for it. Pavers for the garage doors, the welcome center, 3 foot to 4 foot. So that's left open. That's another item that I'll have final for when this is brought to council. When you come out of the welcome center, it's going to be grass, but we'll bring that truck out for parades and stuff like that. So obviously certain times of the year that probably wouldn't be great because it's fairly heavy. So originally they were going to run 3 foot wide. It's like 1.5 inch thick plastic corrugated or whatever. And it's filled with dirt, gravel underneath. So it looks like grass, but it's a solid surface to drive across. I think what that one's for is they're talking about going to 4 foot wide. So it's a little bit better per tire, run. I know they're working through it, and I don't know if that'll cost anything, and if it does, what. So I'll bring that to you when I get it. 43 is outlets, cover plates, switches, whatever. We're going from, some of them are almond. Some things were white. So they asked what my preference was, and I told them to switch everything to white. So everything in there will be white. It fits better, I think, with the color scheme. But there is no cost to it. So again, transparency. Radiant tube heaters reduced in length due to coordination. Yeah. So we've got tube heaters in there, radiant tube heaters in there between each truck. They were supposed to be 30 feet long. They could only fit in 20 because of the sprinkler system, and I'm keeping them, pushing everything high. So we've got as much height in there for tipping cabs and stuff. So part of it's my fault, but part of it is, I think, coordinating all that stuff. Of course, there's no cost, but we do have less feet of tube heat. They've assured me that it isn't going to change the overall effect and everything. So we'll see. 45, breathing air piping requirements for reconnecting SCBA. So it's our breathing air. It's accounted for in the bid, I believe, to have it, but not actually providing the materials. So they're working through that thought. I told them what I would suspect I'm going to do is I'm going to pull what we've got at the current station. Most of it's, how old is that hose reel? 5 years, 8 years? I think 5. So more to come on that one, but so you know what that one is. All right, anything, what else we got? Is that the end one, Nate? We're getting close, sorry. I'm trying to talk fast. All right, so number 46. We spent $15,130 on fill. And if any of you remember, heard me talk about, or even maybe seen it, there was a huge hole back there. And that hole, thankfully we had that sand and we had the hole to make. And that was for that soil correction issue from day one, hour one, of too much black dirt. So we got to the point now where, okay, what do we do with this big hole? We can push all this black dirt that we've got down in the hole, which does two things. One is it's a waste to put good black dirt in a hole and bury it. Number two is it's unbuildable. It's an unbuildable site at that point. When I say that, we have no intentions on building on it, but who knows what the city will do in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Maybe they put a salt shed back there, Sarah. But you know what I mean? So it's like, well, that's dumb, so we should fill it. Justin, the mayor, talked to Dirt Monkey, which is doing the project for the armory. And they had a ton of fill that they need to get rid of, like fast. So he was able to get that for $36 or $37 a load or something like that. Remember, maybe not. So it's right around $36, $37. And therefore, we've got a lot of black dirt left. He's been talking to some contractors that would like that black dirt. And again, don't quote me on this, but instead of like $36 a load for that fill, we could make upwards of $200 a load for the black dirt. So it's a good. So the intent, and he's working the deal, so I wish he was here to talk about it some more, where he's at on it, but the intent is that we're gonna make money on that black dirt, which will eat up that 15,000, and which will help supplement that day one, hour one black dirt issue. Won't be a ton of money, but could be 20, 30,000 bucks. So that's that one. 47's a placeholder we're working on. There was money in there for this, but we're working on getting some prices on painting the training tower. 48 is painting the burn pod. So we're working on that. It's a placeholder. And then pressure wash building and
What's painting the burn pod?
so that's that burn structure we're putting up.
What's the pod?
Well, that's what they call it. It's a burn structure. Yeah.
Okay,
call
I'm
it pod.
Norwegian. You have to
No,
forgive me.
good question. They called it a pod. I don't know. Pressure washing building in addition to final cleaning. I don't know what that is. That's the first I've heard of that. So, well, that's why I'm kind of surprised. It says in addition to standard final cleaning, the exterior of the building will be pressure washed to help clean the facility. That one you can guess what kind of conversation I'll have about that. So I don't have an answer on it. So what does this all mean? So first change order was 168,000, 100 and some of that was that black dirt issue. I think that number does include the winter conditions. You're better at this than I am when we've moved the numbers around. Okay, fair enough. So the stuff I talked about today, all those numbers I just talked about of the known numbers, there's a few that are unknown yet, but that equals $63,000. Survey was 5,000 of that. Winter conditions was 17,000. And then that soil that Justin's working on is 15,000. So if you remove those items, and the reason why I'm removing them is because I want to talk about the true change orders in the building or whatever. That's just under $26,000 is the second change order for those items. The winter conditions were the winter conditions. That's another line item in there, so it's not a contingency per se. The soil, if you can get that black dirt sold, that number obviously goes away and gets healthier for some other issues. And then the survey, obviously, Nate did a good job of explaining why that's there. So that $5,000 is obviously contingency, so it comes back onto that 26, but just trying to be really conscientious of where's what going and why and all of that. So questions? I think I covered as best I could and what I wanted to make sure you knew at least at this point.
And then Lori, do you need just us to ask to forward this on to council with all the complete data?
I would say so because this isn't complete enough to
Right.
make a formal approval.
Yep.
Okay.
I just, like I said, I wanted to
Oh,
get you
yeah.
guys a first look at it and so you kind of knew where it was at, if you had any input or concerns or suggestions, but yeah, I agree with Lori to whatever your wishes, so.
This is Todd. I make a motion to forward the change orders to city council meeting upon final numbers.
Approval by, yep.
Moved by Todd,
Yeah, no, this is Crystal. I'll second.
second by Crystal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye.
And carried. Number 7, discussion with possible action on filling police patrolman positions.
Thank you. This is just brought up, as you may not known from, the mayor and trying to bring back every hire for process for the, committees and department heads. We have, one officer, his termination or his, separation date was Thursday. I expect another one here. He's going through the final process. I expect that here this week. So I'll have 2 positions, open, so I'd like to, advertise and hire.
Okay. Anybody with anything to add or move or?
Well, no, this is Crystal. I
Discuss.
would move that we fill the 2 patrol positions as they occur.
Moved by Crystal,
Todd, I'll second it.
second by Todd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Number 8, update on fire department building project.
So you've heard an awful lot on it. It's going well. I mentioned mid-August, I think, as far as potentially a move-in date. For the most part, things are going pretty good. Hiccups here and there, but for those of you that maybe have driven by lately, it's really starting to come together. Should have been blacktopped by now. Actually, should have been blacktopped back in the fall, if you remember. They're still fighting with a little bit of moisture issues on the north side there. And so they're holding off, in hopes that it dries, and they're working with it and doing some things. So that's kind of putting a delay on the parking lot and the drives. I'm not sure where that'll turn out exactly, but they're taking it a day at a time and doing what they can to make it happen. Other than that, like I said, I've talked an awful lot about it, but the one thing I would like to add to it, I guess, is what is the interest? You haven't been in there yet, and we got to get you in there. What is the interest of doing another walkthrough maybe in the next week or 2? Is there interest in that? I would say we'll ask or offer it up to the whole council, rather than just, I think we'd originally kind of started with the public safety committee, but we'd have to post it, obviously. Well, either way we would, I suppose. Is
You had
there,
done the council, hadn't you?
huh?
I think we invited the.
We
entire
did, we
council.
did. Yep. Originally, we were kind of working with just the public safety, and then we decided, let's invite them all. So I think that would make sense to do it again. There's no reason not to, right? So what's your pleasure as far as night or time or, my first thought is do we shoot for next week, Wednesday night at 5:30 and see if we can get in there? Or do we want to push it out a little bit farther? I'm open. It's for you guys. You tell me what. Could do another night too. I know, Thursdays are a little tough for me right now because of trying to get to my daughter's softball games. There you go. There you go.
I can do Wednesday night, and 5:30 would be the earliest I'd prefer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So what was that? So next Wednesday?
No,
Or-
I'm good with any Wednesday.
Okay, Seth.
next Wednesday is the 25th.
Okay. Okay.
And I would be available for what it's worth.
Nope. Sounds good, Seth. Okay. You're comfortable with us trying it?
I can always.
100%. Well, and that's, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just come knock on my door and we'll go. Yep. Yep. Well, should we shoot for that? Lori? Want to do that?
I've already seen it a couple of times and I'm not available on the 25th, so
Oh.
I will just
Fair enough.
set it up for you.
Yep, yep, yep.
I have
You'll be
had
there in
million things that have come up
spirit.
on that day. will be incapacitated that day.
So what day?
25th, next Wednesday night, 5:30. So yeah, well, Lori, if you could send that out to the council and post it then. And whoever can make it, great.
Sounds good.
So just a couple updates on the fire station from my angle is we've been working with USDA on getting our first reimbursement going through. We believe we have all the materials in at this point, minus maybe one thing to get our first reimbursement, which is going to clock in at about $1 million. The struggle we've had a little bit is project has changed hands at the USDA between 3 different people since January. So we're just trying to work through that and get on the same page. The gal who we have working for us right now, Julie, is trying her very best, but she's juggling a lot of different projects right now, but she's trying to be very communicative and responsive. And we just had to go through some things like getting that survey done so we can get the letter of federal interest. And so it's taking a while, but we're getting there. And I would expect that we'll have final reimbursement processed sometime next week, which would mean however long it takes for checks to start rolling in is probably sometime around 4th of July. The other thing is more of a question for Chad. We've had one of our state elected officials ask about ribbon cutting, or not ribbon cutting. Well, it would be ribbon cutting an open house for the facility, just so we can start getting on everybody's. Are you thinking that would be in August as well? Or are you thinking closer to September, October?
So thank you for reminding me of that, because that is another item I want to mention. It's kind of a guess at this point because we don't know exactly when we'll get in. If we get in the middle of August, we're kind of shooting for Wednesday, October 1st. That gives us a window of getting in there and getting organized and making it look presentable. Because obviously we want to do that. Probably be a mid-afternoon type event, do ribbon cutting and, kind of open house, whatever. Possibly doing a dedication with that. I'm struggling with how much I want to put in one event because I don't want to take away from the dedication, and some of that's obviously to the community and the firefighters and, whatever. But the other piece to that dedication is to 2 past firefighters that we lost that when they were members on our department. I don't want that to take away from the ribbon cutting. I don't want the ribbon cutting to take away from, so I'm working through some of those things and what it'll exactly look like, but tentatively October 1st is what Devin and I had talked about a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago. So good. Yep. So good catch. That was on my mind and I forgot to write it down.
Okay. Anything else, Chad?
Not on that. No.
You want to do
The
updates
updated
now?
Fire station. No, it's just updates.
Okay.
You talk for a while and then I'll come back around and finish.
I'm super quick that way. So, no, just schedules. We have a lot of skeleton crews. We're crazy busy. And you guys will see those numbers actually next public safety meeting, because the next one is July. So you get the halfway stats and I'll kind of do a breakdown of all our calls throughout the half of the year. So expect, in 2 weeks, you guys will see more of them, but our calls are way up.
I gotta get a drink of water here. No. All right. I'll try and go quick here. Not much left, but these are just kind of our updates. So I am working on writing that DNR grant. I think I mentioned last month, it'll probably be anywhere from write it for about 15,000. It's a 50% grant. That'll help us, purchase a few more things over and above what our budget can handle. Nate and I kind of talked about that during budget time. So I'm going to write that in hopes to get it to help with funding. Our responses have leveled out a little bit. It's still been pretty crazy, but it's kind of back to maybe last year's numbers, slowed down a little bit. I won't use the other word, but so it's leveled out a little bit, which I think is great. Some public education things we've been doing in participation. We went to Parks and Rec. Kale invited us down there. Petey was there. And Brandon from Emergency Management. We talked about safety and see something, say something. Talked about use of AED and basic first aid and, fire safety, just everything to do with safety and things like that with their new staff. I think it went well. It was great to talk to the kids. A lot of them were pretty young, so it's first experience in something like that or whatever. So I appreciate Cale inviting all of us down there to be a part of his educational piece for new hires. Dairy breakfast was his last weekend. Turned out wonderful. We were there to help land the helicopter. MedLink was there. So they were required to be there to land the helicopter, and then we also provided some EMS coverage along with Tri-State. Went off really nice, beautiful day, a lot of people. Participated in a Touch a Truck event that was at the Early Learning Center, Broke Area Schools Early Learning Center. I'm not exactly sure what they called it, but anyways, took a fire truck over there and talked to the kiddos and let them climb around on the truck. And I believe you guys were there, along with other trucks, dump trucks and things like that. I'm not entirely sure who was there, but been doing some fire extinguisher training again for businesses. Today there was one at Farm and Home Safety Days. They do that once a year at the fairgrounds. Bunch of kids learning about home and fire and farm and home safety. And one of the things that to do is put out a fire. Dick Wallen, you guys know him, I'm sure, retired assistant chief, has been still continuing to help me with some of those. So he actually did that training today, but trained another 43 kids on fire safety and fire extinguisher use. We do have another one coming up for Vernon Manor, one for VARC, and then waiting to hear back from the hospital. So adding all those up, it'll probably be 400 or 500 people that be getting through the fire extinguisher training. So it's been good. We got 6 events coming up in July. One's a fundraiser. Of course, we got the fireworks coming up. Touch a Truck, 2 Touch a Truck events. One for, I don't know what the organization's name is, but then there's another one at O'Reilly's coming up. They've invited us there, so we'll be doing that and a few other public education things in there. So it's going to be a busy July, which is good. Working on 2 to 3 new members again. So that's been looking a little better as far as interest. Got applications from, I think, 3 of them. So we'll see where those turn out. Working with them on it. Nixle, you guys got Nixle probably. If you heard the count, I think we talked to you about this because our cost went up with the county, our share or whatever. So it's switching on July 1st to Everbridge. And I'm not nearly as smart as Brandon, but if I can remember what he said is it used to be an opt-in service. So you would have to actually sign up for it. This new piece, Everbridge, is now you have to opt out. So meaning I think he said 18,000 phone phones will get it. And currently it's like 3,000 or 4,000 that get it who have signed up. So that's going to jump their numbers for us, the whole county, but us to communicate for snow events or any type of emergency. So, July 1st. So after July 1st, if you start getting weird messages and you weren't before, that's why.
Is there a cost then per event or per
It's an annual
user?
fee. What are we paying?
Okay.
1,000 or no?
We pay
1,500?
1,000 now, we're gonna go to 1,500.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you also, if you are signed up in Nitzel, there is nothing you have to do
Yeah, don't do
either. I
anything.
mean, so it's like he said, it's, once it goes live, it just grabs every cell service, phone number in the Vernon County.
Yep. Little cost, but there's other things we can do with it too that we'll get educated on. I'm not sure if it'll actually benefit us per se, but we'll look into it.
Are other counties around us gonna do that too?
There's like Code Red. There's different ones. I don't know who else has got.
Well, I'm just
Everbridge
asking about
around
Richland
here.
County because I'm kind of like on the,
Yeah, good question.
so I'm just not sure if I was gonna
I
get
don't know who
Nixle
they
and
have.
this.
Yeah.
They'll both still happen.
Are they on Nixle now, Richland?
Yes.
Okay. I think Nixle's going away. I think Everbridge is becoming
I can definitely check for you, but I do believe they're one of the ones on that list that is going to Everbridge too, so I can definitely check tomorrow.
Yeah, does that sound right though? That maybe Nixle is going away? That's part of this whole thing, but yeah, so. Well, I think, unless you have any questions, already talked about the tour, so I think I'm good. Rick, anything else?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Second period for public comment. Anything, Nate?
Well, looks like you're good, John.
I'd taken a motion to adjourn.
Todd, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
This is Crystal, a second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Where motion carried, we are adjourned.